Hello, hello, everybody. Here we are. Billy wants to show herself off and say hello. She is the best. She's such a good Reiki doggy, huh, Billy? You're my favorite part of this show. Thanks for being here. High five. High five. No? Rude. Rude. Rejected. Oh, thank you. You're so funny. Today is episode 40. Can you believe it? We made it to 40 episodes. I'm so grateful to be here with you, Billy. And Bennett is here too. Hi, Bennett. You're a cutie. We were having thunder last night, and Bennett is not a fan of the thunder. He's still recovering. Billy was such a powerful part of my last session. You know, I facilitated a session right before we left for our dear friend's celebration of life, and then to go to Vegas for our oldest's 21st birthday. And at the end of the session, when the integration was happening and we were just talking, Billy came up and put her paws on several parts of this person's body. And it was so cute because she literally puts the exact right amount of pressure and in very specific places. And I love to watch her do Reiki. She's so intuitive and she's such a special part of every session I facilitate. So thanks, Billy. Did you go away from us? Speaking of the last session I facilitated, that was a life-changing and powerful experience for me. And I will not go into a lot of detail, but I have been very lonely with this work for 4 years now. It has been something that I have wanted and longed for, to be able to meet somebody or see somebody or even hear of somebody who is channeling beings like I am. I have heard of other channelers. I've seen Bashar and others, and I still haven't seen anybody do what looks like my experience or anything similar, where they're taking over my entire brain and body and I'm having to work to harness their energy. And, you know, it's something that I've really had to work to like ground myself and hold my own in these beings coming through. And I've just wanted so badly to meet somebody or to hear of somebody who's experiencing very similar things, of these like high level, high intelligence beings coming down and entering the body. And so I was so extremely grateful and excited and just in awe when during the last session I facilitated, the person was able to channel a being in really like the exact same way that I do. I struggle so much with gaslighting myself. I doubt myself. I'm like, am I just a crazy person? What is going on with me? And to see somebody else channeling a beautiful, wonderful, high intelligence God being was more fulfilling than I can ever even put into words, because it helps me feel like, oh my gosh, this is real and this is true and this can really happen. And we just have to open ourselves to these beautiful beings, and they can literally come and heal us, work on our chakra systems, channel messages of wisdom and comfort and guidance. And it was just an absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful experience that I will be forever, ever, 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 ever grateful for. And someday maybe that person that we had the session, I facilitated the session for, we will talk about it together someday, because it was a really, really cool experience. So I'm so grateful for these beings. I am so grateful for this work. And throughout the last 4 years, I have said one word more frequently than any other word in all of these sessions of channeling Jesus, Kate, and other entities. And that word is open. Whenever she's working on me, There are many times that I cannot say any other words. I can't use my brain even fully because they are in there and working. And so I'm just kind of like in a trance state and doing my best to allow them to do their work. And it can feel extremely difficult at times, although it never feels bad. It always feels extremely productive, kind of like a birth where you know that something wonderful is coming out of it. And so even though it's difficult, even though it's uncomfortable, you're willing to go through it. That's very much how it feels. And when those things are happening and it's hard for me to use words or even think with my own brain, the words that come out of my mouth again and again and again and again are open and Jesus Kate. Open, Jesus Kate. Open, Jesus Kate. Open, open, open. Thousands and thousands of times. Poor AJ has sat through so many sessions now where Jesus Kate is working on my body and I'm just like, oh my God. And all I can say is open, open, open. And I never really fully understood what that meant. And then when we were recording our podcast, our co-parenting podcast the other day, in episode 2 of No Dysfunction Here, our little co-parenting podcast that we just started, I said the word open so many times. Open to your children, open to your co-parents, open to your co-parents' new partners. We need to open our hearts. We need to open our minds. We need to remove judgment. All of this stuff. And it made me think as I was listening back to it, like I am now preaching and teaching this word so much because it is the key to unlocking our spiritual gifts, unlocking harmony and peace in our life, in our relationships, in our bodies, is opening ourselves to vulnerability, opening ourselves to the unknown, opening ourselves to the uncomfortable, opening ourselves to thinking about things in a way that maybe we haven't ever been programmed to think about things, opening to new ideas, opening to the spiritual, non-physical realms, being able to really open our eyes to see the non-physical around us, to see the synchronicity and the connectedness of all things, to see the signs that these beautiful guides and light beings give. It's all about opening our hearts, opening our minds. And so Jesus Kate, I never really understood it all. And now I find myself using that word in every session, in everything I do. And so I'm so grateful for these messages, for these procedures. You know, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at age 21. They told me I would be in a wheelchair in the next 10 years. That was 20 years ago or something. I'm not good at math, but I don't even feel like I have MS anymore. These beings, this work, this healing work heals things. It heals relationships. It heals our literal physical bodies. It can make us feel more youthful and young and radiant and joyful and at peace no matter what is going on around us. It's amazing. And I feel them through my body now so much more, just sharing their messages in a way that I have always really, since this began, struggled to understand. Like, how can I channel them if I'm not on the medicine? And now I just feel like it's a very natural and fluid part of me that I have opened to them. And I have really given them full permission, these high intelligence light beings, given them full permission to use me to help others and to guide others to their own healing. You know, I don't believe that anybody necessarily is a healer to anybody other than themselves, although we are all connected, so we're all healing one another in different ways if we open to each other. But I feel like my job is just to point the way to other people's healing themselves, to point the way to going inside and seeing the things we are afraid of seeing. Being shown where we still feel afraid, where we still have not forgiven ourselves or somebody else, where our heart is still closed, where our mind is still closed. What kind of thoughts are we thinking that come directly from the programming we received from a religion, from parents, from grandparents, from society and culture in general? Where can we open ourselves to new opportunities through thinking about things differently, processing things differently, loving ourselves more fully, and really just choosing to see everything as one. My son Thomas says, I am you and you are me. And he's said that a lot his whole life. And it's such a powerful message. We are everything and everything is us. We cannot separate ourselves from all of this divine creation. And when we open ourselves to thinking about things that way, then we never want to hurt another, because hurting another is hurting ourselves, And we want to have reverence and love and appreciation and respect for others and all things, all living things, everything. And so I am just so grateful for that word open that Jesus Kate has put through me, literally probably tens of thousands of times, and for what that word has taught me in my life, and the peace and literal physical healing that has brought to me. Speaking of healing, I have spoken quite a bit on this show about my issue with picking. It's been more than 20 years. It's been my entire life, really, since I can remember, that I haven't had an issue with picking at my skin. It's been such a struggle. And I decided to bring it to the show, which was a very scary thing for me to do because it's always been hidden. And what I really learned through sharing this very vulnerable and embarrassing part of myself is that wounds need to be seen in order to be healed. And so I was keeping the secret. I went to many therapists, at least 2 therapists with this issue. I have only spoken about this issue to my close family members and friends because it was so shameful and it was so embarrassing. And I had to open myself and to reach out and say, I have this issue. And in doing that, it really helped me to feel braver and stronger and to continue to just go deeper into the work. And it's all connected. It's not like I went into any shamanic journey and said, I need help with picking. That might have been really helpful, but I haven't done that. All I've been doing is showing up with the intention to clear out anything that is keeping me from being my healthiest, happiest self and most helpful self. And so as I have continued to show up to this work and been brave about sharing it, I am healing and I have 0 open sores on my body, and that is quite a while now that I can say that. And I'm so freaking grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for the power of just vulnerability. It is a superpower to just say the words out loud and to reach out. And I've had other people contact me and say, hey, I have this same issue. And we've been able to connect and help each other. And so this work is healing work. And so many times when either I facilitate a session or I have a session myself, I have no idea what exactly specifically is being healed, but it is all connected. And I watch as the people I facilitate sessions for move forward and integrate the work that they did, and they start to see the connections and start to feel the healing and start to watch their relationships change and watch themselves kind of think on a higher level and start to set boundaries where they were not able to and start being braver in their lives. And it's just an absolutely beautiful part of this work that we don't always know exactly what we're healing, but if we just keep showing up with faith that we are tapping in to the connectedness of all things, that we are tapping into higher energies that can help us. And even though there are no words for it, we see the fruits of the labor. We see how it is benefiting our lives. And I'm so grateful. It has been a long time since I've been working with Reiki, with hypnotherapy, or with doing deep medicine sessions. And since I have just started working, since we experienced a huge and unimaginable tragedy in our family about 10 months ago, I just stopped working. I have been caring for my family. I have been grieving myself. And just in the last few weeks, I've started back into working, and it's all felt good and okay and manageable. And new opportunities are arising. I'm making new connections. It's such an exciting time. And I am just so grateful. So grateful to this work. So grateful to our Gaia, Mother Nature, who provides everything for us. The medicines are so beautiful. The diversity of foods that we have to experience in this life. I would imagine that there are other existences where people don't even necessarily have taste buds, that they only eat for survival. And I am so grateful that I live on a planet that has such a diversity of flavors of foods. My mouth waters just talking about it. I love food. So grateful for the diversity of experiences we get to have here. And it all starts to feel so much more peaceful and so much more enjoyable when we open and start to heal ourselves, because we come into this life and it is a very, very dense realm. It's a dense existence. It's heavy. And we, as babies, we might have stuff that we're carrying with us from past or parallel lives, but for the most part, we are kind of a blank slate, and so much heaviness, programming gets put into us. I've spoken about it before, but when a baby looks in the mirror, they're just enamored and amused, and they like what they see. And that exact same person 15, 16 years later looks in the mirror, and all they see are flaws. And what changed in those 15 or 16 years? Programming. The world telling you you're not good enough, you're not worthy. But in reality, we are all divine. We are all perfect. Our hearts are beautiful and pure. And all of our bad behavior comes from external sources, that are causing us to feel the need to protect ourselves and be hardened and rigid, or lie, cheat, steal, all of these things that we do in our life just to survive is what it feels like so much of the time. That's not us. That's the dysfunction created by external programming. So we need to just love ourselves, forgive ourselves, let go of all of the shame, and just trust that if we open ourselves to being vulnerable, to taking accountability when we make a mistake, to not judging other people because they also are just working in their programming and working in survival and just doing their best with what they've been given and what they have experienced. If we all can just open ourselves a little bit more to each other, we will have so much more peace in our life, and more than anything, open ourselves to ourselves, be vulnerable with ourselves. It's a really, really important part of this work. And in every session I facilitate, I have the person bring a picture of themselves as a small child, and I put that picture in the corner of a mirror. And it is a powerful moment in every session where that person is looking at themselves as a little child and looking at themselves in the mirror and making so many new connections, and loving that little person and seeing, wow, that person was brave, that person was kind, that person was good, that person was funny and courageous and all of the things. And just kind of tapping back into that person that we were before the world came and told us we were not good enough. So speaking of not being good enough, update on the armpit hair. I have come a long way with feeling self-conscious. I am fine with being around family and friends and strangers, but we are about to go in September to Cancun with AJ's work. And it's like all these big wigs and higher ups, all at this beach resort in Cancun. And I've always struggled with feeling different in those settings. I feel like I'm an embarrassment to AJ because I'm a different kind of human. I'm not like this buttoned up wife. I'm always worried I'm going to say the wrong thing or do something embarrassing or just like be a little too wild or whatever. He's never made me feel that way. He's always so proud to have me next to him, but it's my own external programming that causes me to struggle with those things. And so I was telling my daughter Anna the other day, I'm thinking about shaving my armpit hair because I don't want to deal with being at AJ's work function in tank tops and swimsuits and having something that people are totally grossed out by or weirded out by or judging me. And the only reason, she's like, Mom, the only reason you would shave your armpits is because you're caring what other people think. Please don't do it, And she had such a good point. It is true. The only reason I would shave my armpits is because I'm worried about other people's views on me. AJ doesn't care. AJ loves it. He loves me. He never, ever has asked me to change any part of myself. It's me. And so I am working to build up the courage to be at a beach work function for like 5 days in Cancun with my armpit hair. So that's where I'm at. I think if I can get over that, I'll get over all of it because it's really the only group of people that I would feel self-conscious around at this point with the armpit hair. But it has been a growth experience. I mean, I was very embarrassed at first, going to any kind of function and allowing it to show. And now I just really don't care. So I'm really grateful to just be clearing myself of this programming that tells me what I need to be, how I need to be, what a woman looks like, what a mother of 7 looks like. I am deciding for myself what I want to be in this world. And the best way to do that is truly to just go into this healing work and clear out all of the programming and figure out what is really me. Who am I? And what am I as a unique expression of this universe? We are literally made of this earth and the stars, the cosmos, and we are all so unique and different. And that is such a beautiful part of this existence, is that we are so unique. So we don't want to try and be like everyone else. And so this is a good opportunity for me to be brave and be myself and not be embarrassed. So anyway, let's see. I did want to read one thing from Melody Beattie's Journey to the Heart. Today's message was great, and it kind of goes along with what we've been talking about. She says, be vulnerable with yourself. As we go through our days, we meet many people. We learn it's safe to be vulnerable with some, not so safe or wise to be vulnerable with others. But there is one person it's always safe to be vulnerable with: yourself. Share your deepest secrets with yourself. Whether you rise early in the morning and write your thoughts in a journal, or take a few moments throughout the day to bring your deepest secrets to consciousness, you need to be clear, straight, and honest with yourself. This is harder than we think. I always thought I was being honest with myself before I started all of this healing work. And I look back now and I can see all of the ways I was literally lying to myself and not being true to myself, not being honest with myself. So this is something we can work on and practice every day. And I still have a ways to go, I'm sure. Harboring secrets, ducking, dodging, and hiding from the truth will slow you down. It will block the pathway to your heart. It can even stop you cold if you get enough secrets tucked away. Take time each day to recognize what you think and what you feel. You don't have to act. The sheer acts of recognition, honesty, and acceptance are all that are necessary to keep you moving, growing, and going forward. Be as vulnerable as you safely can be with those you meet along the way, but always, always be vulnerable with yourself. I've taught my children a lot of lessons about, being your own best friend in our little Sunday lessons we had when they were growing up. And being your own best friend means being totally honest with yourself and true to yourself and asking yourself, what do I need? And so I loved that message. Thank you, Melody Beatty. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you next time. Namaste.